This is the type of thing you can just do at home by yourself in the garden, or if you've got someone that can throw a few balls to you, that would be even better. So I just thought first of all I'd show you. I managed to pick this one up from Morrison's. If you're able to go out shopping, this set cost me £2.99. I didn't have a rounder set at home. Only comes with, you know, just short posts for posts 1, 2, 3 and 4, and then it comes with a very heavy bat. Personally, I wouldn't go for the heavy bat, but some people like it. It gets a lot of power behind the ball. If you haven't actually got anything like that, then I mean, a good old rolling pin from the kitchen drawer. If you ask your mums and dads, perhaps they've got one of those they can use. Just be creative, or maybe even look to see if you can make one like Mr. Dyer did with his cricket video. Okay, so the first thing we're going to consider is the component of fitness of coordination, which is your ability to coordinate 2 or more body parts together at the same time. Now, if we didn't have coordination, we wouldn't be able to make contact with the bat and ball in the first instance, let alone then be able to get another important component of fitness like power behind it. So we're going to just look today just to start off by improving your coordination. Obviously you can do things like juggling, just passing the ball against the wall, all that kind of stuff, but if we're going to get a bat, we might as well try and make it a bit more realistic. So you can just stand there and you can just try and hit the ball up onto your bat. Okay, if you find that quite simple, you can try doing 2, 1, 2, and then obviously increase it. I'm going to stop there. I'm going to increase it as much as you can. Okay, so once you've done that, you can advance it if we just come over here against a wall, and all I'm going to do is just hand feed, hit against the wall, just like that. Now automatically I'm getting myself into a sideways position here, which is a bit more realistic for the technique of the game. Okay, we're not here doing it this way, we're from the side, in, hand feeding. To progress that, if you've got a partner, anyone at home, I'm just going to use my daughter. Say hi, Jess.
Hello.
Then what we can do is you can give the ball, actually no, sorry, I'm going to feed it to you. So wherever Jess stands, okay, the distance, the angle, I'm going to try and hit the ball from my hand from my bat into her hands. In there. Oh, perfect catch as well. Thank you. Pass it back. Lovely. So you can do ones like that. Jess, you could go and try and change the angle that you're stood at. You can even try and change the distance. I know you're going to go out of the camera view, but maybe go a little bit further back. So now I know I'm trying to get a bit more power behind the ball. That's it. Throw it in. Thank you, darling. Okay, so yeah, I'm just there and I'm just working on my hand-eye coordination to try and hit that ball directly from a hand feed. So the next thing you can do, moving on from hand feeding, is you can get your partner at home just to throw the ball very, very gently to you. Doesn't matter if it's not accurate, because it's good to try and hit from different angles, and I'll talk about the tactics of why it's good to sometimes take no balls anyway later. So from here, Jess is just going to throw in, and I'm just going to practice. Quickly, Jess. Thank you. Just going to practice tapping back. There's no technique here. We're just worried about hand-eye coordination. Just making sure that that ball is hitting our bat in some way. Okay. The refinement of technique. Yeah, Jess. The refinement of technique can come at a later stage. So what I would definitely recommend is do lots of this from different distances, different angles. Before we progress on to the next bit. So once you've gone and practiced those types of things, okay, pause me, come back on, watch the rest of this video and see me talk about the actual technique in a real batting square. Okay, so if we're in a real game scenario, all the batters would be lined up in a safe distance away from the batting square and the rest of the pitch, and what has to happen is that the umpires would call them in. You'd have to give your name officially. They'd call you into the batting square. So they said, Mrs. Hilton, so I can come in and I can enter that batting square. Now if I go in and I'm not really showing much confidence, not very assertive, it doesn't look good to the rest of my team or the fielders, okay? And also if I just go in and have my bat down here, legally the bowler is allowed to bowl to my bat. So we don't want to do that. So we're going to come in and we're going to be extremely assertive, look like we mean business, okay, as we get into that batting square. Okay, so the first batting technique we're going to do is just the standard one, where you are going to stand sideways on to your bowler. So my bowler is directly in line with me as I speak, okay? My shoulder is in line, okay? My other shoulder is in line with my backstop that would be behind. Okay, I'd make sure that my feet are shoulder width apart and I've got nice kind of flexion in the knees, and that's just to allow me to really generate some power as I step off the shot. Okay, now the biggest mistake a lot of people do is they use two hands. We must not ever use two hands. We won't get enough leverage if we do that. So we'll leave that one for baseball and softball, and we'll use one hand for rounders. Okay, the other thing that people do wrong is that they start with the bat out in front of them and they take it back to then come back forwards. That's not efficient. So if you can, I want you to get into the habit of coming in assertive and starting with your bat already behind you. Because if you get a speed bowl, and if you watch my video on bowling, you'll know that speed bowls will come at you really quickly. If you've got a speed bowl coming at you, you only need to make that one movement to hit it. Whereas if you start here, you've got to come back and back in, and that's going to have a big impact on your reaction time. So we're going to start here with the bat behind us, okay? We've got our elbow bent at a good angle, okay? I've got my weight on my back foot. And the reason the weight's on my back foot is as I step forwards and hit it, that's what's going to generate that power, okay? So if I could ask a ball to come through to me, all I'm going to do is take that ball sideways on in front of me here, not behind me, not in front of me, and the aim is it should then go absolutely straight. One thing I just need to say to you is I'm in a very small garden with lots of glass and cars around me, so I'm not actually going to really try and hit it hard, and so that might make my technique look a little bit worse anyway. Okay. Yeah, so I lost that ball. Never mind, we've got another ball. The dog's not too happy, so just taking it off of her. Okay, but we're going to look at another batting technique, because the one we've just done will take that ball over to second deep. Okay, so we're going to look at a ball now that will take the ball over to first deep, which is great because if you think about it logically, first deep is at the furthest away from fourth post, so that it's a longer distance for them to field it back, so more likely for us to get around her. Much more difficult for us to do. All we have to do is drop our back foot, so we're actually turning more of our back on the bowler. Makes it quite hard for them to see what we're doing, but it's important you still put your bat out here, so then, sorry, my son's calling in the background. 1 second, Seb. So then as the ball's coming through, we're not taking it here now, side on, we're letting it come a little bit longer, taking it later, so we can get the angle to hit it here, so hopefully we'll then go over towards first deep. So I'm just going to, 1 second, I've got patio doors right there, and if that last shot's anything to go by, I don't want to break anything. So I'm just going to literally bunt the ball, okay? So ball please. Okay. Okay, yeah, glass, like I said. I'm going to stop there because I really don't want to break anything at home. But as you can see there, by dropping that back foot and turning our body at the hips, we're able to hit over to a different angle. Now, some of you might want to put a little bit of disguise to that shot and make it look like you're hitting it over to second deep. But as that ball comes into you, that's when you take that turn backwards and then hit it out towards first. Okay, so we've looked at putting the ball out towards first and second deep. We've obviously got to go out towards third deep as well, mix it up, bit of variety, so they can't always read what our types of shots are like, but throw in a bit of surprise. So for this one, it's a bit more obvious for the fielders and the bowler to see what you're doing, but we want you to come in much more square on to the bowler. Okay, so we're not going to be sideways on, we're going to be square on, and the reason for that is we want to take the ball here, out in front, because if we take the ball here, it's going to shoot off over into that direction. I've lost it.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so we've obviously all got restrictions at home, but clearly my amazing, powerful shots of the rounders batting, my restriction is space. And yeah, lack of tennis ball. So I'm now over to the dog ball. Okay, so for this one, we've just done that hit over out towards third deep. We're going to add in a disguise now. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to make it look like we're doing exactly what we've just done. Okay, but we're going to stand a little bit further back in the batting box, because what's actually going to happen is as the ball comes towards us, we're going to step off our back foot, and we're going to backhand it. Okay, an absolutely amazing technique because it really does throw the fielders off. So if I ghost it again without a ball, okay, I start like this, I step and I hit it, and I'm hitting that ball here where I'm waving. Okay, I'm going to have to be super gentle because this is a heavy dog ball. Okay, so I'm going to definitely stop hitting these balls because I think I might make, cause some damage in a bit. But one thing I want you to realise is that we talked about changing up the angles, so mixing it up so the fielders can't quite read necessarily what you're doing, but also change up your batting order between right-handers, left-handers, tall people, short people. It just helps to throw off the fielders and the bowler especially quite a lot. Okay, so in rounders there's different styles that you can play. You can play all out, where you just play until all your batters are out. You can play like a timed innings, so obviously the innings is over after a set amount of time, or you can play a limited ball round, which is basically you have to play 20 good balls. Now, if for example you get a no ball, your tactic behind there is go for it. Go for every single no ball, because if you hit a good no ball and it goes miles and you can get half a rounder or a rounder out of it, or any obstructions and so on, then you've added to your score sheet, but you've not taken one of your good balls, so you'd still have lots remaining. Okay, so something else to do with batting, some like good kind of advice. Jess, can you just come over and pretend you're first post for me, please? Yeah, lovely. Look like a proper post. Just stand there. Okay, so as I've hit that ball to you, we spoke earlier about coming out the side of your batting square. What we want to do is put the bat into our left hand. Okay, the reason for that is because as soon as I touch my post, I'm in. Okay, and they can't get me out. Whereas if I've got it in my right hand, it's harder to run and reach across. Also, just come and stand here. So imagine now I've run to her, I'm there, I've got to stay in contact with my bat, and if the camera angle is now seconds, what I'm able to do is use the length of my bat and reach out ready for the next batter, and then go again. So we always want to be able to put our bat into our left hand. Okay, last tip, I promise you, because I know you're eager to go out there and practice these skills. Let's just say you've only got 1 or 2 good balls left in your innings, and you really want to make sure that you've got your strongest batsman in. What you can do, it's a little bit gamesmanship-like, which is the opposite of sportsmanship, but you can make a team sacrifice, sorry darling, and you can run out the batter that's ahead of you. So if I was maybe just a post behind Jess, I could purposely run her out, overtake her, and then get back in, get my rounder, and then I'm the next to go in on the batting square. Like I said, it's not good sportsmanship to do that, but sometimes if you're right at the end of a game and you know that all that you need is that one rounder to win, it might be kind of suitable to do it then. But what I'd make sure is I'd go up to my teammate at the end and say, thank you for sacrificing yourself for me. Really sorry you did it, but we won, and then we'd high five and it would all be good. So guys, that's it for rounders batting today. That's literally batting in a nutshell. Go out there, get into your gardens, practice at home, do whatever you can just to try and get a bit of rounders into your life, because it's such a great sport. And when we get back to school, it'll be lovely to see some of your skills in action. In the meantime, drop me some emails with pictures, videos, anything like that. Let me know how you're getting on. Keep up the good work, guys, and stay healthy and stay safe. Okay, bye.